Yeah. So good evening, everyone. Today we'll be discussing the Assam Tribune newspaper articles of 3rd of October and as well as the 4th of October. Right. As I have mentioned that I will be covering the Sunday newspaper also, but for certain reasons I could not come live yesterday. But I will be covering that 3rd of October newspaper articles today itself. Okay. So I hope you guys are well. I hope you guys are doing well and as well as you're preparing well for your exams. So without wasting much time, just let's discuss the articles. First, we will be discussing the 3rd of October, then I'll be discussing the 4th of October. Right. So, 1 second. Yeah. So, why current affairs? Always, the people ask that how current affairs is important for your civil services examination. It is very much important. In simple language, it is very much important. All the questions, whatever in the prelims or in the mains, will be directly related. Okay, directly related to your current affairs, right? Whatever happening in the current events, whatever happening in the last 1 year, 1.5 year, will be asked not directly, but it will be related questions. The questions will be related. In the prelims, it will be a difficult as per the UPSC concern, right? But as for the APSC is concerned, it won't be that difficult, right? So, which will be factual in terms of APSC. All right. So, I hope you guys till now have gone through the APSC prelims paper, question paper also. Please go through it if you haven't, right? So let's discuss the articles. The Before discussing the articles, admissions are open. Admissions are open, and also we have our 10 days intensive mains course is going on, right? Free intensive mains course. So you can join that also. It is live on YouTube. It is free, right? It was live before this class also, right? It is free. Through that you can get an idea about our approach, right? Our approach to mains and prelims as well as. So through that you can get the idea, and with that course, with those classes, you can I mean, set your mind, right? Whether take admission in our institute or not, right? So that is the benchmark. So then admissions are open for the general studies paper, foundation courses, right? So the Durga Puja offer is going on, right? You can call in this number to avail those offers and facilities, right? So let's move. The contents we will be covering, the news articles we will be covering. The first article is state government constitutes panel for implementing Assam Accord. So in both 3rd and 4th October, I'll be covering two articles, right? Only two articles, one each, right? Which is very much important, which is very much lengthy also, right? Lengthy in terms of because we have to discuss all the related things regarding to Assam Accord, right? So let's discuss. Let's discuss the articles. So state government article was the state government constitutes panel for implementing Assam Accord. Right. It is very much important from your general studies paper too. Right. So from the governance and constitution point of view. Right. So why it is in news? Why it is in news? Because the state government has formed an 8-member committee headed by minister in charge of Assam Accord implementation Atul Bora, right? So এইটো স্পেচিফিকেলি মই কিয় এড কৰিছোঁ তাৰ এটা স্পেচিফিক ৰিজন আছে সেইটো হৈছে ৰিচেণ্টলি আছাম ৰিলেটেড কুৱেশ্যন যিবোৰ আহিছিলে APSC ৰাইট তাত কমিটি ৰিলেটেড কুৱেশ্যনো আহিছিলে right? So য'ত committee related question ahise, so it is very much likely that they can ask you about these type of questions also, right? So why they met the 8-member committee? Because to prepare a framework for implementation of all clauses of accord, right? The committee would give special emphasis on high level committee report on implementation of clause 6 of accord, right? So they are giving তেওঁলোকে সবতকে বেছি ইম্পৰ্টেন্স ক'ত দিছে সেইটো হৈছে clause 6 of the accord. Assam Accord clause 6 ৰ ওপৰত বহুত গুৰুত্ব দিয়া হৈছে, right? Because এইটো বস্তু যেটো clause 6 সেইটো আপোনাৰ ইলেকশনৰ আগতেও বহুত নিউজত আছিলে, প্লাস এইটো বস্তু বহুত বেছি ইম্পৰ্টেন্ট হয়ও আমাৰ কাৰণে, right? So according to the Assam Accord, right? So the update of national registration of citizen NRC, so different topic or upor তেওঁলোকে গুৰুত্ব দিব বুলি কৈছে, right? First is the clause 6 of Assam Accord, then the national register of citizen, then flood and erosion, which is a very important topic to discuss, as well as it is a very it is a major issue in our state, right? So rehabilitation of the families of martyrs of the Assam movement, etc. These topics they will be covering. The committee will also give emphasis on implementation of clause 7, 9 and 10. অকল clause 6 তে তেওঁলোকে আবদ্ধ নাথাকে বা clause 6 তে তেওঁলোকে সীমিত নহয়, right? Assam Accord, they will discuss the clause 7, clause 9 and clause 10 as well as, right? So the Assam Accord, we have to discuss Assam Accord. এইখিনি আছিল নিউজত actually এইখিনি আছিল অলপ তেওঁলোকে আৰু দিছিলে what is clause 7, clause 9, clause 10. I have discussed in later stage also, don't worry about it. So বাকি যদি আপনি চাব যায় আপোনালোকে চাব যায় যে নিউজ আৰ্টিকেলটো এইখিনি আছিল, but we have to discuss what is Assam Accord. It was a tripartite accord. Tripartite মানে হৈছে তিনিটা অৰ্গানাইজেশন বা তিনিটা গ্ৰুপৰ মাজত হ'ব বা তিনিটা beneficiary থাকিব তাত, right? Signed between the government of India, the first, then state government of Assam and the leaders of Assam movement in 1985. Signing of the accord led to the conclusion of 6-year agitation, right? That was launched by the All Assam Student Union ASU in 1979. That Ahom Andolonar Homakini kotha koise, right? Demanding the identification and deportation of illegal immigrants from Assam, right? See, এইখিনি সময়ত মানে আৰ্টিকেলটোত বেছিটো নাছিলে আসাম একৰ্ডৰ বিষয়ে, right? কিন্তু মই এইখিনি সময়ত এইটো বস্তু ইমান ডিটেইলছ কাৰণ it is the whole discussion is dedicated to almost 10 slides, right? কিয় ইমান গুৰুত্ব দিছো মই আসাম একৰ্ডৰ ওপৰত? Because mains আহি আছে, and before mains Assam Accord, you have to know Assam Accord very in detail. Actually mains they can ask you about because an NRC হৈ গৈছে, right? NRC issue to হৈ গৈছে, then আপোনাৰ clause 6 ৰ কথা বহুত আহি আছিল নিউজত, তো there is a possibility যে Assam Accord ৰ কথা কিবা আপোনালোকক মেইনছত সোধাৰ চান্স আছে, right? So let's discuss হেতু কাৰণে মই ইমান ডিটেইলছত আমি আজি ডিসকাস কৰিম এইটো বস্তু, এইটো টপিক, right? It sets a cutoff of midnight of 24th March 1971 for the detection of illegal foreigners in Assam, right? Then, however, the demand was for detection and deportation of migrants who had illegally entered Assam after 1951, right? The clause 6 of Accord, it says that constitutional, legislative and administrative safeguards as may be appropriate shall be provided to protect, preserve and promote the cultural, social, linguistic identity and heritage of Assamese people. Jodi konobai najaneo what is clause 6, aji jani log bhalke. Clause 6 talks about that constitutional, legislative, administrative safeguard, constitutional, legislative, administrative safeguard dia kotha koise in clause 6, as may be appropriate shall be provided to protect, preserve, promote the cultural, social, linguistic identity and heritage of Assamese people. Ohomia manuhor teloke Ohomia manuhor cultural, social, linguistic identity বা heritage ৰক্ষা কৰিবৰ কাৰণে, protect কৰিবৰ কাৰণে, preserve কৰিবৰ কাৰণে and promote কৰিবৰ কাৰণে যিটো ক্লজত লিখা হৈছে সেইটো হৈছে আপোনাৰ Clause 6 of Assam Accord. Right. Chalo. The committee chaired by Biplab Kumar Sharma. This is very important, right? Committee যেহেতু head asile to hetu bahut beshi important. Constituted to define Assamese people and institute safeguard for them. Recommendations of the committee, key recommendations there hey committee khone disile. Definition of Assamese, right? The report proposes January 1951 as a cut-off date for any Indian citizen residing in Assam to be defined as Assamese. Kundu date January 1951. For the purpose of implementing Clause 6. Then, reservation of Assamese. The report seeks reservation of Assamese in Parliament, State Assembly, and local bodies. Sabu kot. Assamese in Parliament, State Assembly, local bodies. It recommended creating an upper house Legislative Council of Assam. Legislative Council of Assam, whose seats will be reserved for the Assamese people. The report also seeks quotas in government jobs. So report to a recommend korisile je government job or quota diatu, right? So that was also recommended. Yeah. So registration of outsiders, the report recommends regulation of entry of people from other states, right? Regulation of people from other states into Assam, which include the implementation of inner line permit regime in the state. I have discussed about the inner line permit in various actual discussions. So I'm not repeating what is inner line because I'm focusing on today only the Assam Accord, right? The ILP is a system. অলপ চলপ ডিসকাস কৰিছো but in details মই ডিসকাস কৰা নাই বাৰু ঠিক আছে ILP is a system in which a special permit is required by people from other regions. Special permit is required for people from other regions of India to visit the states. Currently, inner line permit code ase. Manipurot recently implement hoise inner line permit, then Arunachal Pradesh agor pora asile, then Nagaland and Mizoram. So ei kikhon ei sarikhon state or inner line permit লাগে আপনি যেটা ভিজিট কৰিব রাইট মণিপুর অৰুণাচল প্ৰদেশ নাগাল্যান্ড এন্ড মিজোৰাম right then otherwise the report also talks about issues related to land and land rights, linguistic, cultural and social rights and protection of the state's resources and biodiversity. Then issues involved. What are the issues involved with it? According to the recommendations, the people who migrated between 1951 and 1971, including large section of post-partition refugees, would be Indian citizen under Assam Accord and the National Register of Citizen (NRC), but they would not be eligible for safeguard meant for Assamese people under Clause 6 of the Accord. East Bengal migrants who entered Assam before 1951 would be considered Assamese. Then there is no mechanism to prove that person has been in Assam prior to 1951. So eneka eko mechanism nai jot etu proof koribo pora hoy, right? Apnaloke monor ase sage NRC kothate kiman problem hoisile, right? Manhok mati pothaisile, then apunar documents nasile, hetu karneo bahute বিদেশী বুলি ঘোষণা হৈছে rather their ancestors are the freedom fighters from Assam only, right? অসমৰে তেওঁলোকে freedom fighter আছিলে, মুক্তি যুঁজাৰু আছিলে, কিন্তু তেখেতসকলৰ যিবিলাক next generation তেওঁলোকে বিদেশী বুলি ঘোষণা কৰা হৈছিল. Then ইছৰোৰ scientist এজন আছিলে যাক বিদেশী বুলি ঘোষণা কৰা হৈছিল according to the NRC or these kind of mechanism or these kind of you can say mismatch in the data and as well as the problem related to it, right? So that 1951 NRC is not available in several parts of the state, and the current NRC being made uses 1971 as the cutoff, right? So these are the provisions, right? And what are the issues involved with it. Mo koisilo that what are the I will be discussing the other clauses also. What is mentioned that 7, 9 and 10 I have discussed. The clause 7 talks about the central and state government assured to work for speedy all-round development of the state so as to improve the standard of living of people. Clause 7 কি কৈছে যে মানুহৰ যেটো এতিয়া ধৰি লওক ষ্টেটত আমাৰ ষ্টেটত অসমৰ এটো আসাম একৰ্ড যেহেতু অসমৰ ক্লজ 7 মতে অসমৰ মানুহবিলাকৰ অল ৰাউণ্ড ডেভেলপমেন্ট হ'ব the state গোটেই ষ্টেটখনৰ অল ৰাউণ্ড ডেভেলপমেন্ট হ'ব প্লাস মানুহৰ জীৱন যাপনৰ যেটো ধৰণ হেতু কৈছে যে হেতু আপগ্ৰেড হ'ব standard of living that means হেতু না improve the standard of living জীৱন যাপনৰ যেটো ধৰণ right যেনেকৈ আমি জীৱন যাপন কৰো that will be improved right so তাৰ মানে standard of living will be high. The government also promised special emphasis on education, particularly science technology, with establishment of national institutes. Right? So that is the clause 7. Standard of living. কেনেকে high হ'ব কেনেকুৱা process থাকিলে বা কেনেকুৱা provisions থাকিলে standard of living high হ'ব মই কমেন্টত ক'ব প্লাস standard of living high হলে কি impact হ'ব economic হয় socio economic হয় যেনেকে কয় কি বা politics হয় whatever it is politics কয় আপুনি economy society কেনেকা ধৰণৰ standard of living high হলে impact হ'ব এই তিনিটা বস্তুৰ ওপৰত please comment right as for clause 9 it is very much important from a society point of view okay social justice যিখন আপোনাৰ topic থাকিব right in the what general studies paper 2 right so society যিখন part থাকিব তাত আপোনাৰ বিৰাট important এইবোৰ কথা standard of living etc. Clause 9 of the accord, the center and state government would have to secure the international borders against further infiltration of construction of physical barriers right so clause 9 ত কি কৈছে যে যেটো আমাৰ border area right border seal কথা কৈছে ultimately right clause 9 ত কৈছে যে border seal কৰিব center আৰু state দুইটা একেলগে কাম কৰিব right মানে দুইটা কাম কৰিব to what to construction or you can say to construct the solid or you can say construction of physical borders like walls fencing and other obstacles in which it will also mentions in that the clause that patrolling by security forces on land and river routes all along the international borders shall be adequately intensified right so hetu koise clause 9 or under clause 7 ত কি কৈছে মনত ৰাখিব clause 9 ত কি কৈছে মনত ৰাখিব right next clause 10 said that encroachments in government land particularly the tribal belts and blocks would be prevented and encroacher would be evicted এটা সব clause 10 ত কি কথা কৈছে যে clause 10 ত কৈছে যে government landত হক governmentৰ মাটিত হক বা আপোনাৰ ধৰি লওক ট্ৰাইবেল বেল্ট বা ট্ৰাইবেল ব্লক বিলাকত ট্ৰাইবেল এৰিয়াজ বিলাকত কোনবাই যদি দখল কৰে মাটি দখল কৰে তেওঁলোকক কি কৰাব would be prevented and encroachers যোনে দখল কৰে would be evicted তেওঁলোকক তাৰ পৰা forcefully গুচাই দিয়া হ'ব তাৰ পৰা আঁতৰাই দিয়া হ'ব এতিয়া আপোনালোকে মনত ৰাখিব এইটো clause 7 clause 9 and clause 10 ত কি আছিল and I have discussed what was in the clause 6 also so এইখিনি বস্তু আপোনালোকে প্লিজ মনত ৰাখিব standard of living then আপোনাৰ কৈছে construction of physical barrier in the border areas then last ত কৈছে যে government land encroachers in the government land and particularly in tribal belt বা government land ত জনে encroachment কৰিব তেওঁলোকক হেতু প্ৰিভেন্ট কৰা হ'ব প্ৰথমকে কথা আৰু যদি আগৰ পৰা কৰি আছে কোনবাই মানে encroachment তেতিয়ালে তেওঁলোকক কি কৰা হ'ব তাৰ পৰা evict কৰা হ'ব so these are the provisions of Assam Accord right major provisions then we have to discuss what is NRC is the list of Indian citizens and was prepared in 1951 followed the census of 1951 the process of NRC update was taken up in Assam as per the Supreme Court order 2013 in order to wean out cases of illegal migration from Bangladesh and other adjoining areas, the NRC updation was carried out under the Citizenship Amendment Act, Citizenship Act 1955, and according to the rules framed in the Assam Accord, right? The National Population Register, এইটো ডিসকাস কৰিলো একেলগে যেহেতু এনআৰসিৰ লগত বহুত নিউজত আছিল এইটো, তো সেইটো বস্তু মেইনছত বিৰাট ইম্পৰ্টেণ্ট হৈ যাব পাৰে, ৰাইট? তো সেইটো কাৰণে মই ডিসকাস কৰি আছো। The National চাগে আপোনালোকে পঢ়িছে, বাট এবাৰ ডিসকাস কৰিলে ৰিভিজন হৈ যাব আপোনালোক। The National Population Register is a comprehensive identity database maintained by the Registrar General and Census Commissioner of India under Ministry of Home Affairs, right? It is a register of usual residents. Sabo eta ki koise? Register of usual residents of the country, right? Eta citizen koa nai, please etu monot rakhibo ha. Register of usual residents, and will be prepared at the local sub-district, district and state and national level. Eta usual residents or jeto criteria no hetu olopan problematic, but still apnalok koi disu jon manuhe usual residents mane tak koise je NPR or include hobo National Population Register or jon manuhe last 6 months India ase, ঠিক আছে, আৰু next 6 months India thaka plan ase, right? So তেওঁলোকক usual residents বুলি ধৰা হৈছে of the country, right? So NPR is being prepared under provisions of Citizenship Amendment 1955 and the Citizenship Registration of Citizens and issue of National Identity Card Rule 2003. It is mandatory for every usual resident of India to register in the NPR. So বুজি পালে এখানে NPR কি বস্তু, NRC কি বস্তু, right? So then, as per the section 14A of the Citizenship Act 1955, it is compulsory for every citizen of the country to register in the National Register of Indian Citizen, NRIC, right? The creation of NPR is the first step towards the preparation of NRIC. So ultimately, NRC যেটো হৈছিলে এতিয়া next NRIC হ'ব, তাৰ আগত NPR হ'ব, right? So National Register of Indian Citizen হ'ব গৈ আছে, okay? According to the Ministry of Home Affairs, usual residents of the country who has been residing in a local area for at least 6 months, say last 6 months, or intend to stay in a particular location for the next 6 months. বুজি পাইছে? এজন মানুহে যদি last 6 months ইন্ডিয়াত আছে and next 6 months ইন্ডিয়াত থাকা প্ল্যান আছে, তো তা কি ধৰা হ'ব? usual resident of the country in a local area of in the country, right? So citizen and foreigners, unlike the NRC, the National Population Register will not only include citizens but also foreigners, as it would record even the foreigners staying in the locality for more than 6 months, right? The NPR database would contain demographic as well as biometric details, seeding with Aadhaar. The government also plans to seed Aadhaar database with the updated NPR. This updated NPR database along with Aadhaar number will become the mother database and can be used by various government departments for selection of beneficiaries under their respective scheme. So এইখিনি হৈছে provisions, right? এতিয়া চাব, so এতিয়া চাব আপোনালোকে চাব যে আধাৰ ডেটাবেছৰ লগত যেতিয়া কানেক্ট কৰিব, সেই ডেটাবেছ এটা বহুত ডাঙৰ এটা ডেটাবেছ, বিগ ডেটা এটা ক্ৰিয়েট হ'ব, ৰাইট? সো যদি এনপিআৰত ইনক্লুড কৰা হৈছে, কাক ইনক্লুড কৰিছে? দে আৰ নট ইনক্লুডিং চিটিজেন, দে আৰ ইনক্লুডিং ইউজুৱেল ৰেজিডেন্ট অফ দ্য কাণ্ট্ৰি, right? So tar mane foreigner ko include koribo boli tar koise in the NPR database, right? So it is going to be a problem if it is not implemented properly, right? Okay, so in that apne desh ko jano, the articles are over. Apne desh ko jano, woven with lighting. The Jansim is a traditional woman garment of the Khasi tribe of Meghalaya. It is an common everyday wear that is uniquely fastened at the shoulders. The grade Parody of Bhupen Hazarika term Jansim as a woven with lightning. So that is the Apne Desh Ko Jano. And we have the study material, printed study material. We have then for the geography, zoology, history, economics, sociology, political science is going on. Hard copies are available, right? Then we have our puja offer is also going on, so you can register in this or you can call in this number. So then the practice questions are there. You can solve this practice question and answers are there. And also as well as I have given the main practice question, that is the Citizenship Amendment Act 2019 gets into conflict with India's constitutional values and poses a challenge to internal security and foreign policy front. You have to comment on this, right, to 50 into 50 words. So these are the I have provided the answer framework, the introduction, the body, and you can find the all the some sort of I have given the some sort of details also, right? So that you can how you can proceed in that. The challenge, what is challenge on foreign policy front, a conclusion I have written on it, right? So these are the provisions and these are the answer framework you can follow, right? So then APSC means in the intensive course is going on, right? So you can avail the course, right? You can register and you can also call in this number, right? So with that, 3rd of October discussion is over. Now I'll be sharing with you the 4th of October. One second. Yes, okay. So let's discuss the 4th of October Assam Tribune. 4th of October, right? Without wasting any time, let's discuss the. This is the only article I'll be covering. The Palestinian president for other choices if Israel rejects. Right. So that is the statement. That is the statement. So let's discuss what it is. Palestinian president press for other choices if Israel rejects. It is very much important from the general studies paper 2. It is very much important for its international relation, right? Then the Palestinian president Mahmoud Abbas said that Israel's rejection of the two-state solution. So এইটো বহুত আহি থাকে এইটো বহুত সুধি থাকে যে প্ৰিলিমছ ৰিলেটেড কুৱেশ্যন হয় এইটো two-state solution is related to which states, which countries, right? It is related to Israel and Palestine. Okay, two-state solution will oblige the Palestinians to go for other political choices. So this is the whole actually news. There is not that much news, but again I am saying because it is happening. It was happening before the prelims also. This is a very hot topic in last 1 year. Not in last 1 year that those areas are in news. That those areas are always in news actually. So that is why I was covered. But in last 1 year it was very much in news. So that's why I thought it might be important. It might be very important from your mains point of view. So I have to discuss about in detail. Israel-Palestine conflict. The seeds of the conflict were laid in 1917 when the British Foreign Secretary Arthur James Balfour expressed official support of Britain for a Jewish national home. In 1917, 1917 actually কি কৰিছিলে জেমছ বেলফৰে কৈছিলে যে he supported of Britain for support of Britain support কৰিছিলে যে Jewish national home in Palestine হ'ব লাগে এনেকা এটা concept under the Balfour Declaration, right? The Balfour Declaration হৈছিলে 1917. Lack of concerns of the rights of existing non-Jewish communities, that is Arab, led to prolonged violence. So তেতিয়াৰ পৰা violence আৰু বেছি হ'ল. Unable to contain Arab and Jewish violence, Britain withdraw its forces from Palestine. এটা statement দিলে by the declaration or পিছত they could not contain the violence and they withdrawn from the Palestine in 1948. leaving responsibility for resolving the competing claims of the newly created United Nations. The UN presented a partition plan to create independent Jewish and Arab states in Palestine. Most Jews in Palestine accepted the partition, but most Arabs did not. In 1948, the Jewish Declaration of Israel's independence prompted surrounding Arab states to attack. At the end of the war, Israel controlled about 50% more territory. After the end of the war, Israel controlled about 50% more territory than originally envisioned UN partition plan. UN partition planত যিটো ভিজন এটা ৰাখা হৈছিলে বা যিটো এটা এইম লৈ কৰা হৈছিলে তাৰ উপৰিও Israel কি কৰিলে Israel started controlling 50% more territory than যিটো originally decide কৰা হৈছিলে under the UN partition plan. Jordan controlled the West Bank, Jerusalem's holy site, and Egypt controlled the Gaza Strip. Right? এইটো বস্তু বিৰাট ইম্পৰ্টেণ্ট আৰু যদি কোনোবাই প্ৰিলিমছ দি আছে এইবাৰ UPSC prelims, it is important from that point of view also, right? So 1964 founding of the Palestinian Liberation Organization PLO, 1967 Six-Day Arab-Israel War, Six-Day War is very famous in 1967. Israel forces seized the Golan Heights from মই দেখাম বাৰু মেপত গোটেইখিনি দেখাম ক'ত কি এক্সিষ্ট কৰে Golan Heights from Syria, the West Bank and East Jerusalem from Jordan and Sinai Peninsula. Sinai Peninsula exists করে Egypt, Gaza Strip from West. So Israel forces seized the Golan Heights from Syria, West Bank and East Jerusalem from Jordan, and Sinai Peninsula and Gaza Strip from Egypt. Right. The United Nations grants the PLO observer status in 1975 and recognizes Palestine's right to self-determination. Then এটা accord হ'ল আৰু তাৰ পিছত Camp David Accord বুলি 1978 হৈছিলে এটো এইখিনি আপোনালোকে ওয়ার্ল্ড হিস্ট্রি আৰামসে ভালকে পঢ়িছে চাগে যদি যাৰ হিস্ট্রি অপশনাল আছে ন তেওঁলোকে ভালকে পঢ়িব চাগে বা ওয়ার্ল্ড হিস্ট্রি লাগেও আপোনাক এনেও জেনারেল স্টাডিজতে The framework for peace in Middle East brokered by US set up the stage for peace talks between Israel and its neighbor and resolution of Palestinian problem. This, however, remained unfulfilled. 1981, Israel effectively annexes the Golan, but this is not recognized by United States or the international community. In 1987, founding of Hamas. Hamas is a terrorist organization, violent offshoot of Egypt's Muslim Brotherhood, seeking to raise the banner of Allah over every inch of Palestine through violent jihad. See, when I am talking about these things, Hamas, Allah over their things, and Muslim Brotherhood, please don't comment on any religious. Please don't comment religious remarks, okay, in the comment section. Okay, I'm very much against this religious comments. Okay, all religion are same, all religion are I can say equal. We are all brothers and sisters. Please do not just fill the comment section with these kind of comments. Okay, I don't really like it. Okay, personally, just Hindu, Muslim, whatever it is, we are all brothers and sisters. There is nothing like that. 1987, tensions in the occupied territories of West Bank and Gaza reached boiling point, resulting in the first Intifada, Palestinian uprising. It grew into a small war between Palestinian militants and the Israeli army. In 1988, Jordan cedes to PLO all the country's territorial claims in the West Bank and Eastern Jerusalem. Right? Please let me know in the comment section why Jerusalem is so much important. Why Jerusalem is so much important from actually 3 religious groups. Religious groups, you can say, or religious, I can say, faith. So it is very much important, Jerusalem. Who are they? 3 religious groups. Please comment. In 1993, under the Oslo Accord, Israel and PLO agreed to officially recognize each other and renounce the use of violence. The Oslo Accord also established a Palestinian Authority, which received limited authority in the Gaza Strip and part of the West Bank. Israel begins in 2005 unilateral withdrawal of Jews from settlements in Gaza. However, Israel kept tight control over all the border crossing. 2006, Hamas scores a victory in Palestinian Authority elections. Right, Palestinian Authority election. The vote leaves the Palestinian House divided between Fatah movement, represented by President Mahmoud Abbas, and Hamas, which will control the cabinet and parliament. Efforts at cohabitation fail almost immediately. 2007 Palestinian movement splits. After a few months of formation of joint Fatah Hamas government, Hamas militants drive Fatah from Gaza. Palestinian Authority President Mohammed Abbas appoints a new government in Ramallah, West Bank, which is quickly recognized by United States and European Union. Gaza remains under the Hamas control. মই এইবিলাক ডিটেইলছ আপোনাক লিখিব কোৱা নাই মেইন স্যাৰ প্লিজ ৰট্টা মাৰিব কোৱা নাই আপোনালোক এবাৰ যিখিনি পঢ়িছে আপোনালোকে এইখিনি যদি পঢ়ি লয় এবাৰ এটা ব্রিফ আইডিয়া যদি থাকি যায় আপোনালোকে গোটেই ইস্যুটো গম পাই যাব ৰাইট সেইটো কাৰণে মই দিছো এই ৰট্টা মাৰিব কোৱা নাই মই এইবিলাক চববিলাক আপুনি ৰট্টা মাৰি আছে কেতিয়া কি হৈছিল নালাগে এইবোৰ বাট আপোনালোকক কৈছো যে এটা ব্রিফ আইডিয়া যদি থাকে that is very helpful in your answer writing. Right. In 2012, UN upgrades Palestinian representation to the non-member observer state. In 2014, Israel responded to the kidnapping and murder of 3 Jewish teenagers in the West Bank by arresting numerous Hamas members. Militants respond by firing rockets from Gaza. In 2014, clashes and an uneasy eruption brokered ceasefire. In 2014, Fatah and Hamas form a unity government. Though distrust remains between the two factions. Agote hoise problem etia pisoto hoisile 2014. Etia sab map khonot sabo etia. This is Mediterranean Sea. Okay, this is Mediterranean Sea. Ekhon Egypt, right? Egypt exists kore Sinai Peninsula, right? Sinai Peninsula. Then this is Israel, sharing border with Egypt, right? And then this is Gaza Strip. This is Gaza Strip. Gaza Strip shares border with Mediterranean Sea as well as Egypt, right? Sorry. Then it is Lebanon, right? This is Syria. Then we are talking about the Golan Heights. Golan Heights share border with Syria, okay? Syria. Then it is the West Bank. And in West Bank, the Great Jerusalem exists. Right? The West Bank code exists kore sailo ebar, Dead Sea code exists kore sailo, Jordan code exists kore sailo. Eta Israel or akhe pakhe Israel boundary share car logot boundary share kore hetu ebar sailo apnaloke. ঠিক আছে তো হেইটো হৈছে আপোনাৰ মেজৰ ইম্পৰ্টেন্ট এই প্ৰিলিমছ বেসড প্লাস আপোনাৰ মেইনছ বেসড হ'ব পাৰে আপুনি মেইনছটো লিখিলে বা এখন সৰু এনেকা এটা ৰাফ এখন ম্যাপো যদি বনাই দিয়ে it will help you in fetching the more marks, right? Then territorial puzzle, West Bank. The West Bank is sandwiched between the Israel and Jordan, right? Sandwich. Right? One of its major cities in Ramallah, right? Ramallah, the de facto administrative capital of Palestine. Israel took control of it in 1967 war and has over the years established settlements there. The Gaza Strip located between Israel and Egypt, right? Israel and Egypt. This is the Gaza Strip. Then Israel occupied the strip after 1967, but relinquished control of Gaza City and day-to-day administration in most of the territory during the Oslo peace process. In 2005, Israel unilaterally removed Jewish settlements from the territory, though it continued to control international access to it. Okay. Then Golan Heights. I was talking about Golan Heights. The Golan Heights is a strategic plateau that Israel captured from Syria in 1967 war, the Six-Day War. It is very famous Six-Day War. Israel effectively annexed the territory in 1981. Recently, USA had officially recognized Jerusalem and Golan Heights as a part of Israel. Right. So USA recognized recently. So Palestinian Authority created in 1993 Oslo Accord, officially governing body of the Palestinian people, led by President Mohammed Abbas of the Fatah faction. Right. So then Fatah, founded by the late Yasser Arafat in 1950. Fatah is the largest Palestinian political factions. Unlike Hamas, Fatah is secular movement, has nominally recognized Israel and has actively participated in the peace process. Then Hamas is regarded as a terrorist organization by US government in 2006. Hamas won the Palestinian Authority's legislative elections. Right. So it rejected Fatah from Gaza in 2007. So these are then two-state solution. The two-state solution is based on UN resolution in 1947, which proposed two states. One would be a state where Zionist Jews constituted a majority. The other where the Palestinian Arab would be majority of the population. The idea was, however, rejected by the Arabs. So two-state policy. Who gave that solution? UN resolution in 1947. For decades, it had been held by the international community as the only realistic deal to end the Israel-Palestine conflict. Okay. So it is why it is difficult, because borders, there is no consensus about the precisely where to draw the line, right? So with Israel building settlements and the construction barriers in areas, right? So Jerusalem, both sides claim Jerusalem as their capital and consider a center for religious worship, right? In December 2017, Israel declared Jerusalem as its capital, and step found support from the USA. Right? So refugees, large number of Palestinians who fled their homes in that what is now Israel, right? So there is these kind of policies, and why it is difficult to achieve that goal is there. So global stand, nearly 83% of all countries have officially recognized Israel as sovereign state, right? So however, at the same time, many countries sympathetic to Palestine also. What do both parties want? These are the what they want. Palestine wants to Israel to halt that expansionary activities and retreat to pre-1967 borders. So he today like is and Palestine wants to Palestine refugees who lost their homes in 1948 be able to come back. Right? India stands. India was one of the few countries to oppose the UN's partition plan of 1947, because his own experience during the independence a few months earlier. So নিজৰ experience হৈছে India আমাৰ, so সেইটো কাৰণে we have denied the proposal. So these are the provisions of how India faced, or how India is eyeing on it, right? In 2004, India favored UNHCR resolution to probe Israel's human rights violation in Gaza, right? So despite supporting probe, India abstained from voting against Israel in UNHCR in 2015. So these are diplomatic policies. These are international relations, right? The Link West policy, India has hyphened its national relationship with Israel and Palestine in 2018. So when government changes, some governments have different policies, some government have different policies. So this is the international relation. On what on it is on how India will be benefited out of it. So all the governments wants that same thing, right? Their policies or their ideas can be different, but all the governments wants that the how international relations of India is good with the other countries, right? How they can get the benefit out of it, right, with the relation. So this is the thing. Then अपने देश को जानो, PMO's tree of life, right? Tree with brilliant blue leaves is seen quite often in the backdrop of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's office, right? So what it is, the mural is titled "Tree of Life," made in the traditional Gond art style, right? Traditional Gond art style practiced by the large Gond tribe of central India. So what is Gond tribe? Gond are one of the largest tribal group in the world, are mostly live in Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh, Gujarat, Jharkhand, Karnataka, Telangana, Uttar Pradesh, West Bengal, and Orissa. Gons are subdivided into four tribes: Madhya Gon, sorry, Rajgon was also there. Rajgon, Madhya Gon, Thurvegon, and Khatwalgon. Right. Their staple food is two kind of millet, kodo and kutki. Right. Rice is mostly consumed during the festival feast. Then Goans believe that earth, water, and air are ruled by gods. They majorly speak Gondi, which is unwritten language. Other Dravidian family. It has been notified as a schedule. So this is the whole article and the discussions about the 4th of October news articles, newspaper. I have mentioned about these things. One second, yes. Yeah. So these are the prelims practice questions. Prelims practice question. You can check it out. Right. You can solve these questions and answers are there. Answers are here. And I have also given the mains practice question. Discuss the Israel-Palestine issue and its impact on India international relations, which I have discussed in details in that news article. So with that, you have to discuss it in 250 words. So with that, I'm ending this class. Right. I hope you guys are benefited with this class. Right. If you have any doubt, any query, you can comment on the comment section, as well as you have the number which is given in the description box. You can also call or contact in this number. Right. With that, I'm ending this class. Thank you. Thank you very much.